Okay, hi students. In the last class we have discussed about the cell, the basic unit of life. The brief idea we studied about the cell, and there we have talked about what is a cell. Cell is a structural and functional unit of life. Why it is so termed as structural and functional unit of life? Because it builds the body of every organism, means it forms the structure of every organism. Okay, and every living organism life is started with the help of a single cell, and it undergoes several divisions, and thereby the organism, the organs, the tissues, the organ systems, and also finally the life of every organism arises. And apart from this all, we have talked about the prokaryotes, eukaryotes, right? Prokaryotes are the one cell organisms, means that they are the primitive ones, they are primitive cells, they are the first evolved cells, right? One good example for the prokaryotes is amoeba. As you have seen earlier in your earlier classes that it is irregular in shape, right? Amoeba. It, according to the surrounding medium, it keeps on changing its movement and also its shape. It is not having a particular shape. It is irregular in origin, right? And whereas when you are shifting for the eukaryotes, eukaryotes are the with many, right? And they carry out with various life activities, and they are having a well defined nucleus, not like the prokaryotes. Prokaryotes are not having the well defined nucleus. When nucleus is not that much well developed, there you are not having the controlling of any of the cell organelle or any of the organism. Okay, and all this we have discussed, and we have talked about the discovery of the cell. Who discovered the cell? Cell was discovered by the scientist Robert Hooke, right? And before him, one more scientist comes into the picture, that is Anthony von Leeuwenhoek. He is the one who talked about the animalcules, right? He observed the small organisms, they are moving in the slide, so that's why he called them as the animalcules, and these are the foundations for the cell discovery. He is the one, he is the man first who observed the cells, and later on the Robert Hooke comes into the picture, and he, together with the Leeuwenhoek contributions, it finally led to the discovery of the cell, right? And where this Robert Hooke identified the cells. So, and what are the other scientists? They are in the light of discovery of the cell. There are also some other scientists are there like Swammerdam. Okay, apart from the Leeuwenhoek and also the Robert Hooke, you are also having one more scientist, that is Swammerdam. Okay, these are the scientists, they worked on various kinds of microorganisms, means some of the germs, alright, and other plants and human cells and animal cells, and finally we got the shape of the cell and the functions and structure of the cell, right? And we will jump into the story of the cell in detail and the experiments too. First of all, we need to know how the cell will be, right? So imagine this as a cell. We cannot say it is only in the circular or round or spherical in shape. Okay, the cells are of varied shapes. They may be of with sharp pointed ends, columnar. You may take oval, right? And also some cells are of star shape, right? With centered nucleus or peripheral nucleus, right? And also some cells are irregular in shape. You cannot define the shape. Some are oval and some are cylindrical, right? So cells are of varied shapes. You cannot say this is a confined fixed shape. According to the organism and according to its function, the structure will vary. So the shape will also vary. And we have talked about, you are also not only having the cells with the smallest microscopic units, and behind that also you are also having very small cells. One good example for the smallest cell is mycoplasmas. Okay, the smallest known cell is what is that? Mycoplasmas. It is the smallest one. Okay, which is when you take the cells entirely, when you are talking about the cells, all the cells, mycoplasmas is the one which is the smallest cell. Okay, and you take the cells, kinds of cells. When we talking about the kinds of cells, the cells are of varied, right? Like plant cells, you are having many kinds of plant cells, right? And human cells, like take for example we are also having different kinds of cells. Take for example bone cells, and the heart surrounding the cells, they are called as cardiac cells, and the cells which are surrounding the muscle, they are called muscle cells, right? And the eye cells are so called as rods and cones, right? So in the organism of every living organism, they are having a varied cells. So in this session we are going to talk about how the cell in the plants and how the cell in the multicellular organisms, right? So and what are the parts that are present in the cell, that we are going to discuss now. Okay, so I said you that Robert Hooke is a scientist who discovered the cell. So with the help of an experiment, he explained about the structure of the cell and how he carry out the procedure to observe the cell. Okay, so what is the procedure behind the discovery of the cell? What he did, he took a thin cork slice. Okay, where is the cork present? Cork is present in the stem of the plant, right? Cork is a part of stem of plant. When it is a, imagine it is a tree, right? So imagine this tree, and here at the center you are having this is a bark, right? Inside the bark you are having the cork. It is a thin layer. It is a centered region of any stem or any root. It is a centered region of the plant cell. Okay, so but this cork is very difficult to find. When you just want to observe it under the microscope, when you want to observe it and the cells of the cork, it is very difficult. So for the convenience, he took another one, but how the shape of the cells that he observed under the microscope. You know, he invented the microscope also. Can you observe the cells with your naked eyes, with your real eyes? It is not at all possible, right? So it is impossible thing to observe with the naked eyes. Take for example, look at my hand when I am going to touch this board and also this chalk, right? So when I take my hand, when I observe it under the hand lens, I will find many of the germs that are present in my hand. Can I observe with my naked eye? It is not possible, right? I said you that cells are very microscopic units, means they are not observed with the naked eye, real eyes. We need a hand lens, magnifying lens we need. Where we will find the magnifying lens? The microscope. So the microscope will give you the detailed study of the cell. So microscope is the one possible way to observe the cells, right? So how many kinds of microscopes are there? There are three kinds of microscopes. Okay, one is simple, second is compound, and the third one is electron. So this compound electron microscope, they are mainly useful to study the internal structure of the cell. Any of the microscopic, you know, the cell is very thin than your hair. How the hair, if you take only one hair follicle, how it is so thin, right? Are you observing my hair, one follicle if I take like this? Are you observing this? It is very impossible, right? How it is impossible to observe one hair follicle from a long distance, it is that much hard to observe a cell without a microscope. It is not possible, right? So that's why we need a highly perfect lens, right? Highly magnifying lens. What a magnifying lens, which makes the object so closer to our eye, which also shows us the fine particles which are not visible with the real eyes, right? So that magnified lens are present in the electron and compound microscope. So from this microscope only, this Robert Hooke, the discoverer of the cell, right, he observed the cork slice cells under the microscope. Okay, so he observed the cells. And have you ever seen the honeycomb, we'll call Teneputta, right? So the honeycomb, how it is arranged so compact, right? You will not observe the middle space, right? The empty space you will not observe. That how it is compactly and closely arranged. Likewise, here also the cells are closely arranged. I'll show you the arrangement of the cells that he observed under the microscope, right? So the cells are like this, in this, right? So they are like this. They are arranged so compactly like this, right? What is this nucleus? We'll talk about the nucleus later, but this is the cell where he observed. What is the part that he observed the cells? Cork slice. I said you where the cork is present. Cork slice cells. Who is the scientist behind this? Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke observed the cork-like cells, cork slice cells under the microscope. Okay, and they are arranged like this, so compactly, so closely. That's why this is compared with the honeycomb. How the honeycomb, the honeybees are all in the line, right? They are in the series. They are arranged and they are attached to this comb in the form of a series fashion. Regular, they are so regular. So that's why these cork-like cells are compared with the honeycomb. So how we can observe then the slice, the cork slice cells under the microscope? What is a better way to observe like this? How to show this to others? How the cells will look like that, right? To make it so convenient, what this scientist did, he performed the cork-like cell experiment with the help of a matchbox. I'll tell you. Okay. The name of the experiment is observing the cells through the matchstick. Okay. Observing the cells in matchstick. So, how the cells of the matchstick will be, how the, have you seen the matchstick, how it is? It is like this, right? The igniting material is at the top and it is the stalk-like structure. How it is made of? With the help of wood, right? When we are talking about the wood, what I said you earlier that this wood is the thing that is present in the stem, right? It is the bark, the hollow, the strongest portion of any tree is the, what is that? The stem, right? Inside, when you are going inside the inner layer, the central portion of the region of the stem is so called as cork. So it is very much hard for you to get the cork separately. So that's why this is made up of, the matchstick is made up of like cork cells. Okay, the wood contains itself, it contains the cork cells. Okay, so that's why he took the help of the matchstick to show, to give an experimental evidence. He considered the matchstick. Okay, then how he will observe? So for this you need to take a matchstick. Okay, so the material required are water, glass slide. For any of the experiment, when they are so microscopic, very small, thin units, you need to have a microscope to observe them, right? So that's why he took the microscope, watch glass, water and also the matchstick and glass light. Okay? So first initially what he did, he took the matchstick. Okay? So he made a thin slices of the matchstick. So he is cutting this portion. He is making the stick into finer pieces. He will keep this matchstick under the water for a while. After all, the material will be somewhat soft, no? And after that, he is going to cut this stick into very fine pieces, and after all, he will separate them with the help of a brush or any other thing. You need to take very thin slice. Okay, if you are taking only the thin slice, you can observe the cells conveniently, perfectly. otherwise it is not possible. Okay, so he took the fine sections of this matchstick and he took one of the piece into the glass slide. I will rub it so that it is convenient for you. Okay. So what he did, he took one of the fine section of that into the glass slide. What it is? Glass slide. Right? He took one fine portion, one cut portion. Okay, and he will press, or he will press it against that material with the help of another glass slide. And after pressing that, he kept he poured one drop of water. Drop of water to prevent the, why we will add water? So why we will add here the water? Water is added to prevent the dehydration. Means that the cell that is present on the glass slide, it should not be dried. If it is dried, you are not going to observe the cells perfectly. And the real structure of the cell, it is not visible under the microscope. So that's why you should not add more. Okay, so you should not add more water, as it looks the slide so clumsy under the microscope. So just add one drop of water to this slide. Okay, and cover it with a cover slip. For observing the contents perfectly, we are covering it with a cover slip. Okay, so after all covering it with a cover slip, what we have to do? We will observe it under the microscope. So observe it under the microscope. So what are the cells that you will observe? The cells are arranged like this. They are arranged so compactly without intercellular spaces. Okay. What are intercellular spaces? When there is a space between any of these two cells, that is so called as intercellular space. You will not observe any of the intercellular space here in the cork slice. Okay. So when he is observing under the microscope, he observed the cells that are arranged like this compactly. So this I gave you the fine structure. Robert Hooke observed himself like this. How they are looking like? They are looking like a so small rooms, right? Room, it is closed, it is attached to the walls, right? How they are so compact, the rooms, right? They are looking, according to the Robert Hooke, they are looking like small rooms. What he named them as? Small rooms. He named them as small rooms as they are arranged so compactly, so closer to each other. One cell is closer to the another cell. That's why he named them as small rooms. Okay, so where he observed this in the cork slice of a matchstick. Okay, so he took for what? He observed the cells under the microscope with the help of the matchstick. Okay, he gave the experimental evidence how the cells will be, and thereby by this experiment we can conclude that the cells are the smallest microscopic units and they are also arranged compactly without any space in between the cells and with the nucleus either in the center or in the periphery. Periphery means in the outline, right? And center means they are arranged in the center position, right? So they are, that's why when they are arranged so compactly like a room with a four-cornered room, when it is four-cornered room is closed with a window and also the walls, no? Likewise, these cells are also arranged in the form of a room. That's why he called them as small rooms. Okay, so this is the experimental evidence which was put forward by the scientist Robert Hooke. And meanwhile, what are the other things that we need to follow to observe the various kinds of cells? Again, we will perform one more activity to understand the kind of cell. Okay, how the cells of other things, how they are, how they look like, we need to observe them. Okay. So first of all, take a onion bulb, right? Imagine for a while this is an onion bulb, okay, with concentric rings, right? Have you ever observed the onion, right? How the onion will be? With rings. The rings, the concentric rings, they will enclose and they will give you a shape of a bulb, right? So that's why the bulb, take an onion bulb and cut it into two pieces, right? for the kind of plant cells, how the cells of the plant or how the cells of a root or underground stem, how it will be. For observing that, we are taking here the example of a onion. So take a onion bulb. Okay. So after all, chop it into a fine pieces and take one bulb. Okay, and take the one bulb and observe it and take the transparent or translucent material from it. Okay, when you are taking a thin portion of that bulb, it looks like this, isn't it? Right? So with the help of, can you tear that onion bulb with your fingers? It is not possible. To collect the membrane, have you seen the egg, right? The egg is enclosed with a transparent membrane, right? So when you peeling the egg, you will observe very thin layer, like how the balloon, how the structure, how the material of the balloon, it is so elastic and transparent, right? Likewise the egg and the balloon, the onion bulb is also having a thin transparent membrane surrounding the bulb, right? So that white color translucent layer we are collecting here. That layer consists of the cells that are present in the onion bulb that we are going to observe here. Okay, so take one fine piece of this bulb and with the help of forceps, you gently tear the transparent portion of the bulb. Okay, with the help of forceps. So gently collect the transparent or translucent layer of this bulb. Okay. And what all you will do after taking this transparent layer? You need to take a glass slide, right? So take a glass slide and keep this material that you have collected from the bulb into the glass slide. Imagine this as a transparent small thin material that we have collected from the onion. Okay. So after all, add one drop of water or glycerin. Okay, so why we adding here the water or the glycerin? To prevent the dehydration. The content that is present in the glass slide should not be dried. If it is dried, you will not observe the cell contents perfectly. To prevent the dehydration, we are adding the drop of water or the glycerin. Okay, so after keeping the material under the glass slide, please add one drop of water. And after all, sometimes we will use in the experiment some indicators, some colored dyes, right? Some colors. Why we will use these dyes? Why we will use these indicators? To know the structure of that cells perfectly. The contents, each and fine microscopic units, they should be visible under the microscope. So perfectly. So for that we will add the indicators. Here what we are adding here? Here we will add methylene blue or safranin, like that material, the indicator. So the name of the indicator is safranin, or you may add methylene blue. Okay. So when you are adding this type of indicator, this sort of indicators to this glass slide, the contents that are present in that membrane, thin transparent, no, you cannot observe so perfectly the cells like this in the cork, right? For that we are adding here the indicators so that the cell contents are visible so perfectly here. Okay, so I will add one drop of water. Apart from this, I am going to add safranin or the indicator methylene blue to this glass slide. And finally, what I am going to do here, I will cover it with a cover slip. Okay. For every of the slide, you need to add either the cover slip for the permanent slide or the for temporary slide. Here we are preparing it for the temporary. Okay, the slide is temporary. If we taking the experiment freshly, right? If we are observing the cell or the slide just now, we are preparing and we are observing, that is a temporary slide. In the permanent slide, we will have an impression on the slide, like how the tattoos, how the temporary tattoos and permanent tattoos, like that. Here the temporary slide is with a temporary tattoo, and whereas the permanent slide is like a permanent tattoo. Okay. So here I am taking the temporary slide now, that's why I am adding all these contents. Okay. After adding this, what I am going to do, I am going to observe it under the microscope. Okay, like how I observe the cork slice cells, here also I am observing this slide, onion bulb thin transparent membrane slide under the microscope. So how the cells of the onion bulb we will observe here now. So the cells of that onion bulb are like this. Okay. The cells are irregular with intercellular spaces. Okay. They are not arranged in regular fashion. They are with intercellular spaces. Observe these Koch cells and also these onion cells. These onion cells are covered with a membrane. Cell consists of a outer covering. Every cell consists of an outer covering, so called as a cell membrane, right? But in the Koch cells, you didn't observe any of the membrane, right? Any of the outer covering is not present in the Koch cells. But whereas these onion cells, they are having a membrane surrounding them. The membrane that we collected from the onion bulb, when we observing under the microscope, the cells are like this with irregular manner with intercellular spaces. Okay, and they are covered with a membrane. So that's why the cells of every organism, or either it may be of plant or animal or human or any of the creature, all cells are not alike, and all the shape and size and the function of every cell is not in the same manner. They are varied. Okay, so that's why here the cells are irregular, right? They are having small intercellular space, the space between two cells, right? And they are covered with a membrane, fine intercellular spaces, and the center nucleus. So this is the structure that he observed when he collected the membrane from the onion cell or onion bulb. This is the kind of the cells that are present in the onion bulb. So now we are going to perform one more activity to observe the nucleus. So what is the nucleus? That I am going to tell you with an experiment. So, imagine this as a cell. Before observing, going to perform an experiment, we first will know about the brief, we'll get a brief idea regarding the nucleus. Okay. So, imagine this as a cell. I said you the cell is covered by a membrane, so called as a cell membrane, and sometimes the cell is also covered with a outer covering, that is so called as cell wall. But here it is covered with a membrane, that is cell membrane, and at the center you will observe an oval colored spot, right, or round or oval spot, that is so called as nucleus. What is this nucleus? Any of the cell consists of the nucleus, and some organisms are having the absence of nucleus. Why this? Because the nucleus is the main control center of the all activities, because the nucleus is made up of the main kind of DNA. Okay, so the things, the characters are transferred from any of the thing, either it may be of the humans or the plants, the animals, any kind of creature. When the cell contains the nucleus, it passes the information from one generation to the other generation. So that's why nucleus is called as control center of the cell. It controls all the activities of the cell. So that's why every time when you are observing the cells, at the center or at the periphery, you will find a spot-like structure. In some cells you will find like this at the periphery, right? It is a centered position and this is a peripheral position. When it is closer to the membrane, it is so called as a peripheral position. When it is closer to the center, it is called as centered nucleus, and when it is closer to the membrane, it is so called as a peripheral nucleus. Okay, so for every of the cell, either I said you that plant, animal, human or any of the other creature, so the nucleus is a control center of all the activities because it passes the vital information from one generation to the other. So that's why I am calling, or scientists call this as control center of all the activities of the cell, and it is a main cell organelle. What is a cell organelle? Cell organelle is a thing which performs various functions of the cell. One cell cannot perform all the activities. It is impossible. So the cell contains many of the cell organelles like nucleus and chloroplast, like that they will float on the cell. So thereby they can perform the various activities. So how the nucleus will be in the chick cells, that we are going to perform with an experiment later, and we will understand the detailed structure of the nucleus and also the function later. So I hope you understand this lecture.